What's up everybody, hope all is well. Is Overwatch worth playing in 2022? A dumb question at face value because it is an objectively good game. But it's complicated by the current state of it, the uncertainty surrounding Overwatch 2, and what you personally get out of gaming. To be clear, this isn't an Is Overwatch Dying video because that's just ridiculous. Rather, it's a discussion similar to how MMO players may wander off to a different game between expansions. So let's talk about it. It's the question that infects every gamer's mind, regardless of the game. Should I continue playing? A bittersweet notion as you often love the game being considered, but from the moment you first experience the magic a game offers, that clock starts ticking. So much goes into the decision. How deep is it? How polished? How replayable? How popular? How's the community? Is it solved? Have I reached my peak? And all these questions are affected by less tangible things like nostalgia, friendship, habit, and just a plain lack of alternatives. Almost universally, the answer to whether Overwatch is worth playing is a resounding yes. Like I said, it's objectively good, polished, deep, pretty, technically sound, and for all intents and purposes, totally unique. But putting myself in others' shoes, I can see a few outlying cases where Overwatch now might not be the most fun or rewarding option. So let's talk through some of the reasons why Overwatch may or may not be worth playing in 2022 and how the enshrouded status of Overwatch 2 affects that, whether you're totally new and considering the game, a new player who likes it but isn't sure it's worth committing to, or a grizzled veteran who's just bored. I've got something for you. My hope is to show the reasons to play outweigh those opposing such. The most obvious reason why Overwatch is worth playing in 2022 is that it's an objectively good game. Easy to learn, difficult to master. Whether it's casual fun or a hardcore competitive experience, it's got you covered. The hero pool is reasonably deep, for DPS heroes at least, and the abilities and playstyles are diverse. The workshop and arcade are nice additions, and it's a fantastically charismatic game too. I go so far as to say Overwatch isn't just rare, it's unique. Paladins, I know, but I don't consider blatant ripoffs worth consideration. So yeah, if you enjoy team-based competitive shooters, Overwatch is the go-to, and it's fantastically done to boot. Another reason to play Overwatch in 2022 is because you should learn as much as you can and keep your skills sharp in preparation for Overwatch 2. Indicators suggest we'll see something this year, whether that's a beta, launch of PvP, or the entire game remains to be seen, but 99% of everything you learn will translate to that game as well. It's a great way to get ahead of the SR and MMR curves that'll come with it. So for the new players that think they'd like to play the game long term, heck yeah, start playing now because there's a ton to learn and you'll be glad you did. For veterans, while it might not be as exciting as it used to be, I do think sticking around even just to keep your skills sharp is worth it, especially if you're a hardcore ladder player, as I think getting a high rank right from the start is better than assuming you can just get good and climb again. With the right mindset, I think crossplay is a reason to keep playing Overwatch in 2022. Now granted, implementation is about as bad as it gets. No opt-out for PC players, no aim assist for console, and it's turned on by default for console players, meaning if they turn it off, they're in no man's land and queue times are straight up game breaking. But with the right mindset, a purely casual one meant specifically to get a few lighthearted laughs and maybe some decent teamwork with friends, it does serve its purpose. The integration is done well and it's all handled in-game, so barriers are low, and if your friends don't mind selecting less aim-intensive heroes like Reinhardt or Moira or whoever, then you can do surprisingly well. A good friend of mine actually just started playing Overwatch for real, and he's on console, I play on PC. If he texted me right now saying let's do some crossplay, I'd log in. What if you're only looking forward to PvE? Why play now before Overwatch 2? Only reason I can see is if you're totally new to the game because, as I stated earlier, there's a ton to learn. It gives you time to determine what playstyle, role, and heroes you enjoy, and it gives you time to learn all the nuances and synergies between them. Additionally, there is PvE currently you can practice in, though it's very basic, but at least you can get a live environment to learn in. Creator events are another reason to keep playing in 2022. They serve as a fun break from the traditional game. There's been a nice mix of ridiculous over-the-top fun stuff as well as some reasonable and thoughtful changes that are being implemented in live. For me, it's been fun and a good reason to step outside my main role and experience all the changes for each hero. That each is being done by different creators is pretty neat, and it'll serve to keep it fresh, and adding a tournament was a nice touch to aid engagement. Granted, they aren't for all players, but what they do well. And the final reason to keep playing Overwatch is more esoteric, but for me personally, there's reward in being connected to a community, especially when it's going through something, like the big change from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. The excitement, the curiosity, the adventure of it all. There will be complaints and heartbreak, I'm sure, but several years from now, I want to look back and say I was a part of it all. It's weird, I know, but as I get older, the experience of being a part of the experience is more rewarding than the actual game in some sense, if that makes sense. Reasons not to play Overwatch are few, but very real and very serious. First, the lack of new content. The Overwatch player base are primarily veterans. No new maps or heroes in years, and rehashed events are a weak defense against the ever-encroaching forces of boredom. I think the people who say been there, done that for years are warranted in leaving for something else, even if only temporarily. And it's not like the lack of comms from the dev team is helping, which brings me to my next reason Overwatch might not be worth playing in 2022, the lack of communication. People's time is precious, and when it seems like you're being ignored or intentionally kept in the dark on matters pertaining to the use of your time, it can be frustrating. Informing players on the value and, equally important, the future value of their dedication to your game is perhaps the best way to keep them playing. But I have to say, in Blizzard's defense, there's a lot going on from a corporate standpoint. The Microsoft acquisition likely put everything on hold for reevaluation. I personally think the Overwatch 2 we were going to get under Activision will pale in comparison to what we will get under Microsoft, simply because they have the finances to put the art first. That segues into the next reason you might not want to play Overwatch in 2022. There's no release date for Overwatch 2. If you feel you've mastered the game to the best of your abilities and accomplished all you want or think you can and just aren't having fun, maybe taking a break is a good and healthy thing to do. For all we know, it could be another year or two before we see something, and I'd understand if that's too long to hang in there for some. And the final reason you might not want to play Overwatch in 2022 is more console specific. Apparently, smurfing is beyond rampant because you can create limitless free accounts. As a result, toxicity is more pronounced than usual, and competitive integrity has been called into question. And the Zim device that mimics keyboard and mouse on controller hasn't helped. I used to play on console and sincerely don't understand why they let Zims exist. Mike Ibarra, formerly VP of Gaming at Xbox and now leader of all Blizzard Entertainment, ironically tweeted in 2018 APIs do exist to detect and ban Zim devices. He insinuates it's the developers and not Xbox who are choosing not to utilize them. But now that he's in charge of said developer, it would be nice to see him make this happen, maybe even company-wide. Again, I don't really play on console anymore, but a few people spoke up about how bad the Smurfs were in my last video, so I wanted to call it out. So final thoughts. You'll each have to decide if it's right for you. I do see more reason to play than not, but again, personal preference and how you weigh all those things and all that. When I consider it, I look around and I don't really see any alternatives. Not that I'd switch games outright, just that I sincerely enjoy the team-based component, and rare few shooters offer the same depth in that way. I've got nothing against the game, just grown a bit bored and my playtime's dwindled some. While we wait for Overwatch 2, I have one simple suggestion that would be easy to do and make everyone happy, I promise. Give us a game mode selector. Heck, even something as simple as a map-specific mode. I'd play King's Row all night if it was offered, instead of my 6 to 8 daily matches, half are Paris or Horizon or 2 CP in general. No one plays those, everyone throws or quits, and it's backfill city. It really ruins the gaming session. If I may be so bold, Blizzard, your decision to keep it in is disrespectful of your players' time. It's extreme, I know, but it's the truth. No one wants to spend their precious gaming time dodging maps or modes they dislike, yet you know that's the case. You're removing it from Overwatch 2? Give us the option to remove it now if we'd like, please. And with that, I'm done. Appreciate you taking the time. Take care of one another, and I will see you soon.